What's going on, my notary family? We're back, notary tips. And I'm gonna give you some little minor tips that I do with my notary journal here. All right, cue the intro. Okay, we're back. So my first tip is, you see that little yellow? Let's zoom in so you can see the date. It says 4/18/21 to what date is that? Oh, 5. That's a 5. So 4/18 to 5/17. So that's the date when I started this journal and when I ended this journal. So if I ever needed a reference, I could just check the date on the journal and go back to it. So that's tip number one. When you finish your journals, put some dates on them, because I already have a handful of completed journals and without dates I have no idea which is which. And I'm using the Modern Journal of Notarial Events hardcover, because sometimes you may have to sign on it standing up, and or you may not have much room at the table and you're signing on this and it's a flat surface, and for me it's just easier. It costs more. This one's like $25 on Amazon, but I do not like soft covers, the soft back covers. So that's what I do. Tip number two is this paper right here. What it normally would be, but it's not, is the rescission calendar. You can print this is not the rescission calendar, but it's in my bag. Print these out, and at the beginning of the month or the day before the beginning of the month, put this in your journal. It's a good place marker, so you know where your last entry was. And also notice a right to cancel. At least one out of 3, maybe 1 out of 3 signings I have to write in the date, or the signers need to write in the date, their cancellation date, or the full date, today's date and the cancellation date. And if you have your rescission calendar, it's a lot easier just to open it up. Oh, August 13, cancellation 3 business days from now, be August blah blah blah. Write it down. That way you're not sitting there trying to guess in your head how many days ahead you have to count for the business days. So put your rescission calendar in your journal, and it'll help you keep your place, and also when you need to write in for the notice of right to cancel. All right, that's tip number 2. Tip number 3. So when I have multiple signers, so there's no confusion. So for example, let's say the first signer is Ted and Mary. Ted, Mary. Okay, you see that? Ted and Mary, Ted and Mary. So when they go to sign, I'll circle it. I'll put a circle for Ted, underline for Mary, just like that, so it's not confusing. I'm like, Ted, you have 2 signatures on the circles, boom and boom. Miss Mary, you have the underlines, boom and boom. And so I have each signer sign and thumbprint at the same time. So for example, Ted signed all his signatures, Ted does all his fingerprints. Mary does all her signatures, Mary does all her fingerprints. Because one time I did have this happen. All the signers signed. I think there was 2 or 3. But what happened was there was all the signatures there, and one of them got confused. They end up putting their thumbprint in the wrong spot on the wrong signature. Okay, so to prevent that from happening, if there is only one set of signatures, then it's pretty hard to miss putting your thumbprint in the right spot. Okay, putting your thumbprint next to your signature. So that's how I do it. And if there's 3 signers, then I'll just put another symbol, or I'll do something like 1, 1, 2, 2, and 3, and 3. I'll just put numbers next to it like this. if there's multiple signers. You can do what you want. You can put their first initial. You can do a circle and underline, or you can put 1, 2, 3. You're like, Ted, you're number 1, Mary, you're number 2, and Frank, you're number 3. Okay? So that is my next tip. And I want to say that's all the journal tips that I have. Those are all my journal tips that I do. Okay? So that's that. Also, call title if you need to, or the signing company, whoever your contact reference is, if you have any questions. I just did a HELOC today, and there is a document where they ask if they want to add any other debts onto it, some type of form, or if they just had something else they want to add to the HELOC. And I've seen this form before and I've used it before, but I just wanted to call and see how they explained it, because to my understanding it was correct the way I was seeing what the document was for. But I just called the signing company and said, hey, can you explain this document to me? And I said, oh yeah, that makes sense. That's exactly what I thought. I'm good to go. So don't be afraid to call, even if you've done it before and you were just like, you know what, let me see what they think. I'm not 100% sure. I was almost 100% sure, but it's just I don't do too many HELOCs, and I just wanted to hear some clarification from somebody that's probably a little more experienced than I am. So don't be afraid to call them, talk to them, send them a text message, email, phone call is preferred for me. That way I can hear somebody explain it clearly and right away. But anyway, that's my tips for today. It is Saturday, August 14th. And so far we've been doing pretty good. Fingerprint's been going all right. You know, probably 2 or 3 a week. And the signings have been doing well also. All right, notary family, love you. See you next time. Have a beautiful day.